Good morning, children. Welcome to science class. So, we have completed with block 3, isn't it, children? Yes. So, let's start with block 4, which is asexual reproduction in plants. Okay, we have learned about sexual reproduction in plants, isn't it? Where flower is the reproductive part, which has male and female parts in it. Yes. So, let's learn how asexual reproduction happens in a plant. Okay, which is like a vegetative propagation. So in this, our first lesson is about vegetative propagation in roots. Okay, how does a new plant grow from the roots? Okay, how can a baby plant, a new plant can grow in a through the roots? Let's learn about it. Okay, so if you see, children, some of the roots have buds on it, and the roots are swollen. Okay, they look like fat, swollen. They look like this. Can you see the swollen roots? Those roots are called tubers. They are called as tubers, and they store the food in it. They have the food stored in it. Okay, and on this you can see small buds on it. Can you see the buds? Here it is shown the bud. Okay, those buds can grow into a new plant. Okay, so on that bud, when it is taken and sown in the soil, it starts growing with the root and shoot. Can you see the new shoot growing from the bud? Yes, the old stem is above, and the new shoot, which is the stem, is growing from the bud of the root, which is the tuber. Okay, which is like swollen. Okay, so example of this is sweet potato. If you see the sweet potato roots, the roots are swollen and they have buds on it, and this bud grow into a new plant under suitable conditions. When the conditions, the conditions, what it requires to grow a plant, isn't it? So those favorable conditions, if they are there, then the bud was on the roots can grow into a new plant. It can grow the roots and the shoot for the plant, and it can survive like a new plant. A baby plant can grow. Okay, so in this way the vegetative propagation in roots happens. Okay, the next lesson is the vegetative propagation in stem. Okay, so children, in this stem, vegetative propagation in stem, there are two types of stem: the stems which grow under the ground and the stem which grows above the ground. Okay, generally when the stem grows inside the ground, under the ground, they think they are roots, but they are not. They are the stem of the plant. Okay, for example, potato, onion, they are the stems of the plant which grow under the ground. Okay, they are they are usually called as roots, but they are not. They are stem of the plant. Okay, so they are like swollen, like as we have learnt about the roots, these stems are also like swollen. Okay, and they are called as tubers. Can you see in the picture tuber? It is a potato plant. The stems are inside it, and they are swollen, and they are called as tubers. On these tubers you can see the buds, which are called as eyes. They are called as eyes. So then when this buds grow into a new plant, okay, they can taken out and sow in the soil. It starts growing under the favorable conditions. It starts growing into a new plant. Okay, and one more stem which grows under the ground is onion and ginger. If you take onion, this also grows in the under the ground. Okay, and these stems have modified stems, so like this, in the shape of a bulb. So these modified stems are called as bulb. For potato it is tuber, here it is bulb. Okay, they will be like fleshy scales that stores on it. If you take an onion and cut into pieces, you can see the scales on it, isn't it, children? So those stores the food. Okay, when this bulb is sown into the soil under the favorable conditions, it starts growing the roots and as well as the shoot. Okay, so these stems grow under the ground. Okay, now coming to the stems which grow above the ground, they are runners. Okay, the stem grows along the ground, and when it is covered with the soil surface, when it is touching the soil, then it starts growing the roots from there. Can you see in the picture? So as the stem is growing along the ground, they are called as runners. And wherever the stem is getting all the nutrients from the soil, it starts growing the roots and the shoots independently, and that becomes a new plant. Okay, so in this way there are three ways how the vegetative propagation, how the asexual reproduction in stems happen. Okay, the stems which are which grow under the ground, tuber and bulb, and the stem which is growing above the ground, which is runner. Okay, coming to your next lesson, third lesson, which is vegetative propagation in leaves. Okay, so in leaves there are two ways how the vegetative propagation happens, how the new plants can grow. One is the buds that grow on the edges of the leaves. Can you see how it is growing? There'll be some small plantlets that grow at the edge of the leaf, and when they are cut and sown into the soil, it grows into a new plant. Okay, this is one way how the plants grow from the leaves, how the vegetative propagation happens through the leaves. And the next one is, you can take any part of the plant, any part of the leaf. It might be the top one, middle one, the bottom one. If you take it out and sow it in the soil, it starts growing as a new plant. Okay, this is for example of this way of propagation in leaves is snake plant. It is also called as Sansevieria plant. Okay, so when from this plant, if you cut the leaf, any part of the leaf, and sow it in the soil, it starts growing. Okay, so this is about vegetative propagation in leaves. Okay, now let's see the next lesson, which is asexual reproduction, natural and artificial. Okay, how the asexual reproduction in plants happen naturally and artificially. So till now, how we have learned the vegetative propagation in stem, leaves, okay, roots, when they are happening naturally without human effect, those are natural asexual reproduction. Along with those, you have two more asexual reproduction which happens naturally. One is fragmentation, in which a piece of the plant or the fragment is taken out, and it can grow into a new plant. Okay, so in this way the plant can grow asexually, which is naturally happening, fragmentation. Okay, next you have gyma formation. So on the leaves, can you see cup like structures, children? Those are called gyma cups. Okay, so they have a tiny structures on the parts of the plant, where you can see small cup like structures which are gyma cups, and which have gyma inside it. Okay, in that cups you can see gyma inside it. Okay, when this gyma is detached from the plant, it is removed, separated from the plant, it can grow into a new plant. Okay, so that is about the gyma formation. So all these are natural asexual reproductions. What are those? Vegetative propagation in roots, vegetative propagation in stem, vegetative propagation in leaves, fragmentation, gyma formation. All these are natural asexual reproduction in plants. Now coming to your artificial. There are three methods, children. Let's see one by one. The first one is layering. So if you see, children, it is same as vegetative propagation in stem. Okay, but here the human involves. Okay, so when the stem is running closer to the ground, when it is growing closer to the ground, what does the human do? The human the person, the farmer, if you take a farmer, what he'll do, he starts burying part of the stem into the soil. It is like so that it goes into the soil, and when it grows into the soil at a regular intervals, it starts growing the roots, and again the shoot also comes out. The same as vegetative propagation in stem, the runners. Okay, it is same, but here the human is involving, so that's why it is artificial method. Okay, the name itself artificial, it's telling us about it, isn't it? Now coming to your next method is grafting. Okay, so in this method what they do, the stem of one plant is tied to the stem of other plant. They'll cut a plant, the stem of one plant, they'll take it to the another plant, they cut it, that plant also, and the first plant stem is tied to the second plant stem. Okay, they wrap it. Okay children, so in this way you can see the grafting. So the part of the plant which we are cutting and bringing to the other plant, that plant is called scion. Can you see scion? S-C-I-O-N, scion. And the part to which the scion is tied, wrapped, that is called stalk. Okay, so this method is called grafting. Okay, so the scion will take the nutrients through the stalk and develops into a shoot, and it starts forming a new plant. Okay, and next you have cutting. So cutting, so they'll cut the part of a plant. It can be a root, it can be a stem, it can be a leaf. They'll cut it from the parent plant and they sow it into the soil, and that plant, that part of the plant grows into a big plant, a new plant, a baby plant. Okay, so in that way cutting is used, cutting method is used. So all these three are involving the human in that process. So that's why these three processes are called artificial asexual reproduction in plants. Okay, now tell me, what is the point, what is the benefit of this asexual reproduction? Is that with this asexual reproduction, both artificial and natural, there'll be only one plant. Okay, we require only one plant, and that plant we can grow many plants, many baby plants. Okay, from one parent plant we can grow many baby plants. Okay, and also all the features in the parent plant can be will be in the baby plant, all the characteristics. So whichever you required, you can take that plant and grow, so that all the characteristics, all the qualities of the parent plant will be into the child. And in these methods the baby plants grow faster. Okay, so these are the more important benefits of asexual reproduction. Okay children, so this is about our block. Now we need to write our notebooks. So how we have written for block 1, 2 and 3, in the same way we have to write. Here I'm not giving the breaking of words, so just write the words. In the class I'll give you the breaking of words. Okay, so the words are, there are about 10 words: sexual reproduction, vegetative propagation, adventitious, plantlets, fragmentation, gamma, layering and grafting. So these are the keywords which you have to write it in your classwork, and the homework is also same, write the keywords for one time. Okay, so see you in the next class children. Bye.